Hi, good evening. I'm here in Amsterdam, not my favorite city, some of you know, but I'm here at a seminar with Andy Harrington. As well as you know, I am a happiness coach. I love helping people become more happier at work. And I want to speak. That's what I've committed to at the beginning of this year, so I'm very honored and privileged to have the opportunity to ask Andy Harrington a few questions.
Yeah, good, thank you.
Andy, when are you happy at work?
All the time.
Really?
Yeah, I try to be. Like, you know, I feel so blessed because I get to do what I love.
Uh-huh.
You know, I think a lot of people, certainly early on in their careers and in their business, you know, end up doing stuff that they have to do, like the mundane stuff. And, you know, consequently, they often don't get around to doing the things that they love. Mm-hmm. And that wears them out. So very quickly, one of the things you have to do is do what you love, but then you have to build a team of people around you who can pick up the pieces of the other stuff. Now, you don't love those things. You'll find people who love what you don't love.
Yes.
The challenge with a lot of businesses, you end up building, some people build a business of people that are like them. But actually you need to build a business of people who are not like you, share the same visions, share the same passions maybe, same values, but have different skill sets, and have different, something they can bring different to the party. So I feel really lucky that I have people like Max, who's just off camera, by the way, who is brilliant at what he does, you know. And I've got an amazing team of people around me. So by building that team, I get to do what I love on a regular basis, but also I get to spend time with people I love as well. So for me, work isn't work, work is play.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
But you're talking about people that have a business. What about people that are employed?
That are employed?
That are employed, yes.
Yeah,
They're working for a boss.
Ah, well.
How do you get them to do what they love?
Yeah. So again, I think two things. One is you have to find something with what you do that you love. But also, you need to manage upwards, right?
Yeah.
And so what that means is that, speaking to someone who is a business owner myself, if somebody comes to me and they have found a way to do what they love and that helps the business, I'll create a new role for them. Right? So, you know, don't sit inside that little pigeonhole. Don't sit inside the little box and think that's the box I belong in. See the bigger picture and think, how can I add value to this organisation by doing something that I love in an even better way? Yeah. And then go to your boss and suggest that. And if that's just a mini project to begin with. Now, if they don't accept that, you always have the power to leave. Okay. Yes. Right? And start a new business of your own. There's plenty of examples of people who've left the business because they outgrew it in some way, shape or form, right? Yeah. Yes. So if an employee, I always think, like, you know, if you wake up too many days in a row and it feels like work, it's probably time to leave.
To leave, yes it is, probably. If I had to force you to tell one story of a moment that you were happiest at work, what story would you tell?
Well, so many obviously, but, you know, for me...
Just one.
Yeah, for me, I get on a regular basis to present to audiences.
Yes.
And for me, it's always the magic moments. So a good example would be, like, we just had an event just a few weeks ago, Power to Achieve. And one of the things we do is that we do this big, massive board breaks, right? Where we get this, like, 1-inch thick wooden boards. And people write on one side of the board, they write their fears. And on the other side of the board, they write down what their goal is. Yes. And so in essence, the piece of wood represents the limitation or block that's prevented them getting up to now. They're going to break through it. Yes. And what I love the most is, inevitably, you know, we always have a few very young children come to the events. Beautiful. Right? And we see these young kids who are like, you know, we don't get many of them, but sometimes the parent brings them and they're like 6 or 7 years old. And you see them, right, and they've got all this, like, there's no way I can do this, right? And so we get them close their eyes and imagine themselves doing it, feeling good about it, just so they get, at least that they're ready to at least try, right? And then, you know, you get them, I'll put my hand out and they're kind of hitting my hand a few times, practicing as if it's the wood. Yeah, yeah. And without realising, I replace the wood with a board and pop, they go straight through it. Wow. And there's a little look on their face of like, oh my God, I'm powerful.
Oh, fantastic.
You know, oh my God, like, I could do this. Yeah. And there's like a shocking moment. And then suddenly, and of course their parents run in and pick them up and hug. And that for me is a magic moment. I look forward to those.
Okay. Now, this is not your first time in the Netherlands or in Amsterdam.
No.
What have you learned about the Dutch people?
I've learned something about the Dutch people. A few things. Number one is, in the Netherlands specifically,
Yes.
there is an idea that is called the tall poppy syndrome.
Tall poppy syndrome.
Yeah, and the idea is that you shouldn't try to be too different.
Mm-hmm.
You should try to be, the same, right?
Mm-hmm. Don't stand out.
Exactly. And you heard my message today, very different to that message.
Yeah.
So I love coming here because it gives me an opportunity to try to break that pattern, right? And it's not about being different and, egocentric, but being different in a way that you celebrate those differences, so that you can feel unique and important, but at the same time still have a way of connecting with others and making that difference. So I love that about the Dutch people, that it gives me that chance. But also the Dutch people, I find, are also very forthright. They're quite opinionated, right? And I also love that too. I know it's why your Dutch football team struggles at times, but that's fine. It's another matter. But and of course you didn't qualify for the World Cup, but we won't shout that too loud. Okay. Anyway,
We won't tell them.
I know we won't mention it.
We won't mention it.
But being outspoken in this way is great.
Yes.
Right. It's good to be outspoken because you need to get paid for your perspective, right?
Yes.
So you have to have one.
Exactly.
Right? And many people, that what they do is they live a life and they speak on this synthetic level where, you say, oh, how are you? How are you today?
Yeah.
And they say, oh, yeah, not bad.
Mm-hmm.
What is this language? You say to someone, you ask them how they are, and their response is to tell you how they're not.
Yeah.
Like, see, I wouldn't accept that. See, if someone says, how are you? They said to you, say, not bad. I say, that's great, but how are you? But I didn't ask you how you weren't. How are you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm fine, yes. See, I break their pattern, right? I love to be outspoken like that. So I think the Dutch people have that ability within them.
Okay.
But I want to help them to utilise it in such a way that pattern interrupt is one that interrupts people from this sort of just normality of going through the motions, so that people can live their life and feel that their life is a magnificent masterpiece.
Fantastic. Last question.
Yes,
What's
you
the
like
golden
questions,
tip?
don't you?
I love questions.
And anyway, you know what you said at the beginning of this video?
Yeah.
That you said didn't like Amsterdam?
I know.
Why is this?
Too busy. Way too many people. And I like to have a peace and quiet.
Do you?
I'm from The Hague.
Are you?
Yes.
All right.
Political capital.
Well, listen, thank you for coming to see me in Amsterdam today.
I'd love to. I'm very honored to be here.
Yeah, good. Your last question was?
What's the golden tip?
For what?
For standing out.
Like, ultimately, just be you. Everybody else is taken.
Authentic you.
Yeah, be you.
Okay.
Which means say your faults, share your firsts, things you've done that didn't work out well. Just be vulnerable, be real, be normal. Don't try to be special, right?
Just be normal.
Just be you.
Okay.
You're enough.
Thank you, Andy.
All right.
For our great conversation.
You are
Hope
very
to see
welcome.
You soon.
Good.
And
Appreciate it.
thank you for listening and seeing this video. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.